Welcome to Vibrant Living with Nousha. I'm Nousha, a former climber of the corporate ladder turned lifestyle entrepreneur. Each week, I'll bring you an inspiring message to support you in designing and creating a vibrant, fulfilling life. Thank you for joining me today. Now let's get started. Hello and welcome to Vibrant Living. I'm Nousha. So excited to be here with you today to talk about a very important topic, and that is the most important relationship for us to nourish, protect, and renew. So my intention for today is to illustrate the importance of this relationship and to provide you with 5 steps and 5 resources that can support you on your journey. So let's reflect for a moment. What is this relationship? So could it be our boyfriend or girlfriend, or if you're married, your spouse, or if you have kids, could it be your kids, or perhaps even our parents? So the most important relationship for us to nourish, protect, and renew is actually the relationship that we have with ourselves. And so this is the relationship between you and you. And in my experience and in my observations, what I've found is that when we're young, all our needs and desires are on loudspeaker. And our parents are there to support us and to help us fulfill on those needs and desires. However, as we start to go into adulthood, we have more responsibilities. Often when we get married and we have kids, we have many other relationships that we are responsible to nourish, protect, and renew. And what tends to happen is the relationship with ourselves tends to go to the bottom of the list, and our needs become mere whispers. And so it becomes really important for us to be aware of this and to take steps that can support us in protecting this relationship and renewing it on a daily basis. So I know for many of you, you have kids and you're married and it becomes a little more complex. But I know that even 5 minutes or 10 minutes a day can make a huge difference in one's life. And to acknowledge that as time goes on, perhaps you have a newborn and a lot of your time and energy is going to nourish, protect, and renew this newborn. And as time goes on, the relationship shifts and changes, and they move out of the house, and then there's more time and space for us and for us to nourish our relationship with ourselves. So it's acknowledging that it's going to vary in degrees in terms of how much time we can give ourselves, but the main message is for us to carve out some time. Even taking a few deep breaths for a few minutes and being alone just for a few minutes can really renew one's health. And so I really love the analogy of the airplane that's crashing. And we know that when this airplane is crashing, the first thing that we do is we put the oxygen mask on ourselves first, and then we serve everyone else around us. And unfortunately, in our day-to-day life, what's happening is that there is no big emergency. There are a series of events and activities, and we tend to just go with the flow and follow these events and activities and tend to, again, forget about ourselves. And the truth is that we cannot show up as our best selves unless we nourish, protect, and renew ourselves. And I love my mom saying, she says, when you take care of yourself, all other relationships fall into place. And that has been my experience. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the topic of being selfish, because some of us may have grown up in an environment where it's like, that's selfish for you to devote time for yourself or to do things for yourself. And the truth is that for us to show up as our best selves, there needs to be a degree of self-care and so-called selfishness for us to protect some time for ourselves. So it's not going to the far extreme of being totally selfish and not serving anyone, but it's also not going to the other extreme, which is to give, and in the process become depleted. Because the truth is, when we don't take care of ourselves, especially emotionally and spiritually, and we become starved, eventually it can show up as disease in our bodies. So let's talk about the 5 steps. So the first step is really to have an awareness of this truth, that the most important relationship that we have to nourish, protect, and renew is a relationship with ourselves. Now, if there's someone in your life that you know that is not operating in this way, I invite you to share this podcast with them and this YouTube video. And I also invite you to share with them the 7-step checklist that I have as a gift for them to designing their vibrant, fulfilling life. And so that is step number 1. And by the way, that checklist, you can find it on my website, NoushaBehbahanian.com. So that's step number 1, is the awareness of this truth. Now, step number 2 is to give yourself permission to carve out time on a daily basis to nourish yourself and to protect this time as if your life depends on it, because it does. You know, often we have a dentist appointment or certain appointments that are really hard to get. We have to wait 2-3 months, and we tend to really protect those appointments and not let anything else get in the way of that. And it's really great if we can have that same attitude with the time that we've carved out on a daily basis for ourselves, and to protect that time as if, you know, it's an appointment that's really, really hard to get. And so, and as we protect this time and take the time to nourish ourselves, we will feel renewed. So that's step number 2, is to give ourselves permission to carve out this time and to really protect it. So step number 3 is to go inside and listen. And this could be, you know, a minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes. And one of my favorite practices is meditation. When I rise, is just taking a little bit of time to just connect with myself. And when we do that, we can actually hear what our inner child is saying. So when I talk about the inner child, it's really the relationship with you and you. And I spoke about it at the beginning of this episode, that when we're younger, all our desires are on loudspeaker, and we share them with our parents, and they're there to support us and help us fulfill on them. And as we get older, we need to take that time to actually listen to what that inner child is asking for. And it will have all the answers for what's next. So, you know, perhaps that day, maybe going for a walk around the block, or maybe dancing, or maybe singing, or something that would really feed your inner child. And again, I recognize not everyone has a lot of time, but the important thing is to listen to that inner child and to do our best to carve out as much time as we can to be able to fulfill on the needs of our inner child. And that will feed us emotionally and spiritually. And as a result, we can show up as our best selves in life and in all our other relationships. So step number 4 is to share this newfound awareness with your friends and family. I have found this to be really a beautiful practice, because it is creating a support system around you that is aware of what you're up to. My philosophy is everyone in our life is really just loving us, supporting us, and wanting the best for us. And often when they're not aware of what it is that would make us happy or fulfilled, it becomes a little more complex if we really expect people to guess. So this is a super important step, to make your friends and your family aware that this is what you're creating. And step number 5 is to declare it. So a declaration like, I, Nousha, commit to X. And, you know, it could be anything. It could be, you know, I commit to 5 minutes of meditation every morning. Or it could be, you know, I commit to going for a walk around the block every single day to breathe in fresh air and connect with nature. It could be anything that feeds your soul and that nourishes you. One of the things for me was Oprah talks about, you know, being able to say no to some of the external things so that you can say yes to yourself. And there was a point in my life where I was like yes to life, and you can imagine how it could get a little bit much when you're saying yes to everything and there's very little time left for you and yourself. And so that's one of the things that I declared, that I would say yes, and also say yes to myself first. I could say yes to other things, but start with myself. What do I need? Check in with myself, and then from there, go out. So those are the 5 steps. I hope they serve you as much as they serve me on my journey. And I promised I'd share 5 books. And so one of the books I already mentioned, and that is the book from Deepak Chopra called The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success. And this is an excellent book. One of the laws in there is the law of giving. And really interesting, you know, he shares in terms of giving to others and just being a being that's giving. And, you know, what I'd like to add is that we also take a moment to give to ourselves. And he provides some beautiful examples, and I think you'll really enjoy that book. A few other books are The Mastery of Love by Don Miguel Ruiz. This is an excellent book, and I know a lot of people have read this book, The 4 Agreements, and if you haven't had a chance to read this book yet, I highly recommend it. And by the way, all these books are found in the resources section in NoushaBehbahanian.com. So you can also find this book, Ask and It Is Given, one of my favorites, as well as The Vortex. So it has been a pleasure to be here with you today, friends. And until next time, be vibrant, be bright. It's your birthright. Now, let's go out there and shine our light. Thank you for investing this time with me on the Vibrant Living with Nousha podcast. I'm so glad that you joined our conversation. If you would take 2 minutes to positively impact someone's life by sharing this episode, that would be wonderful. Please leave us a review by visiting iTunes. Let us know what you enjoy and what you'd like to see more of. It will support us on our journey to causing a worldwide epidemic of vibrant living. Until next time, be vibrant, be bright. It's your birthright. Now, let's go out there and shine our light.